Hello, Bluecoat. It's Mr. Harris here, and I'm bringing you this week's edition of Votes for Schools. As always, you can find the PowerPoint in the link on the notes in the YouTube video description. So if you want to go at your own pace, otherwise you can follow along with me, and there'll be a chance to vote at the end on the topic this week. I'm just going to share my screen. Hopefully that will be with you now, and we can go through today's session. So last week, feedback. Would you like to be a child actor? I was quite surprised to see that just over half of the children said no, they would not like to be a child actor, saying they wouldn't have enough time to play football and be a child actor, talking about there being a lot of pressure. But numerous children did say they would like to be a child actor, saying that they'd be happy to do both of things and they'd like to be on TV. And they were talking about how it's great to be part of a cast and to have teachers around with you so that they can support being at school as well as being the child actor. I don't know if any of you watched the Mallory Towers sessions, but still available on CBBC if you'd like to watch that. And Mrs. Smith, the Year 6 teaching assistant, was talking about having watched that when she was young, so it must be quite an old programme, I think. Right, in the news this week, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle celebrated their son Archie's first birthday last week on the 6th of May, so happy birthday to Archie. A reporter at the BBC has been looking into fake stories about coronavirus. Children, there's a video on there that I'm not going to share with you now because of the length of it, but it gives some really good advice on what you should and shouldn't be believing around coronavirus, because there's a lot of stories and scams going around that are designed to trick people. The NHS, the National Health Service, are testing an app in the Isle of Wight, which they hope will let people know if they have been in contact with the virus. There's a lot of other countries doing that at the moment, where they can highlight where the coronavirus might be in a person, and they trace who they've been in contact with to stop it from spreading any further. It's a really important part of closing down, trying to shut down this virus. And finally, and quite disturbingly, I thought, the number of young people using food banks was double in March this year compared to March last year, and experts believe this is partly because of the coronavirus pandemic. So what that's saying is a lot of people are struggling just to get the basic food that they need. Children, if you're in a community where you know there's that sort of thing going on, there are places to help. We've been passing on food to a house down in our street, and they're giving it to the food banks. I know Mrs. Edgar Lane has been passing on food as well in her community, so there's lots out there to help. Right, children, you've got to guess this week's question. So I'm going to give you 1 minute, or really you can pause the video, look at the pictures on the screen and decide what could this week's question be. Okay, so we've got an astronaut, we've got a telescope that looks like an alien balloon kind of thing. We've got a rocket, a satellite. Could that be a shooting star? That looks like the moon to me in the top right. So the question is, could you be a first settler on Mars? First settler means the first person to live somewhere. So because nobody's lived on Mars before, if you went to live there, you would be the first settler in that place. Right, why are we talking about this? Well, in front of you, you can see there is a picture, a basic picture of our solar system. And you can see the planets go from the sun, goes Mercury, Venus, Earth, Moon, well, no, that's not a planet, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. When I was young, there was also planet Pluto, which doesn't exist anymore, apparently. They didn't know if it was a planet or something else flying around thousands, millions of miles away. Anyway, I thought what might be quite fun is if you could come up with a way of remembering the order of the planets. Now, children, when I was young, we had to make something up, and you used to have to use the first letters of each planet and make up some sort of song or line to do that. So I'm going to show you the one I've used. So my very excellent mother just served us noodles. The my is for Mercury, V is for Venus, E, excellent, is for Earth, M for mother is for Mars, J for just is for Jupiter, S served for Saturn, U, us is Uranus, and N, noodles, for Neptune. If you have any ways of remembering, I would love you to share that with us. You could send it into your year group email. That is where Mars is compared to Earth. It looks quite close on this picture, but it's actually 180 million kilometers away. This means it could take between 150 to 300 days to get there. That's a long way. Okay, why are we talking about this? It's been over 50 years since the Apollo 11 crew were the first humans to ever land on the moon. A momentous moment for sure. There's a video here which I'm going to share with you, and of what exactly happened when they landed on the moon.
Two, 1, 0, all engine running. Liftoff, we have a liftoff, 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11. 20 feet down, 2.5, picking up some dust. 30 feet, 2.5 down, big shadow. 4 forward, drift into the right a little. Down a half. Contact light. Okay, engine stop. Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed. Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot. Okay, Neil, we can see you coming down the ladder now. I'm at the foot of the ladder. The 11-foot beds are only depressed in the surface about 1 or 2 inches. I'm going to step off the limb now. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Tony, this is so great you can't believe it. I believe it, Charlie. It's raining, Johnny. Look at it go, would you, Charlie? You got all your steering. It's great. Oh, this is going to be some kind of different ride. Hippity hoppity, hippity hopping over hill and dale. Da 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 da. Hippity hopping along. 1, ignition. Right away, Houston. Vector good. We're burning flat. Roger. Looks good, flight. Observation shot, flight. Roger. Heading. Stand by for splashdown. Recovery, America, stable water, and cruise call.
Okay, so there were some pictures from the moon landing, which was in 1969, I think. And the first 3 spacemen, astronauts, to ever walk on the moon. Since then, more than 24 people have visited the moon, and there's been numerous studies carried out. They found that the temperature there can be hotter than boiling water, so over 100 degrees, or colder than ice, and there's no water there. This means that humans can't live there. But what about Mars? First of all, let's look at why humans want to go to Mars. Okay, imagine you are the head of NASA. That's the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. They're like one of the top space people. Read the information on the next slide, and based on these arguments, would you send people to Mars? Why or why not? You can do your let's stay here, the cross, I can't decide, or hand up, let's go to Mars. If you want a challenge, keep a note of your answer and see if it changes throughout this lesson. First one, interesting pose. Humans are curious. All through history, we've explored new towns, cities, countries, and even planets. It's natural we'd want to go to Mars if we can. Do you think on that we should stay here, you can't decide, or let's go to Mars? Second one, if dinosaurs could become extinct on Earth, that could happen to humans too. If people live on Mars and Earth, we can make sure humans don't become exist. Do you think that's a reason not to go? Can't decide, or let's go to Mars? Humans could study Mars and find out so much more about our solar system, about space. We might even find aliens. Stay here, can't decide, let's go to Mars. There's another one. Interesting one here. Climate change is spoiling planet Earth. If we start exploring Mars now, we might be able to go and live there if Earth doesn't survive. Let's stay here, can't decide, let's go to Mars. You know the drill now. Scientific discoveries could help us in many ways. For example, a program that was created to look at photos of Mars is already used to detect cancer. Just think about all the things we could learn. Right, now the next question, quite important. Would it be possible to live there? Over the next few slides, you're going to find out what Mars is like and what living on it would be like. Read the information carefully because afterwards there's a quiz. And if you would like to, maybe try the quiz out on a family member, see if they can know as much as you. Right, while many rovers and landers have explored Mars, no human has visited yet. However, some scientists think we could be visiting there in just a few years. So far, 4 rovers have been to Mars. This one is called Perseverance. Excuse me. Percy for short. You can see that's a rover on the picture on the right-hand side. The rovers are collecting information about Mars to find out what humans would need to do to live there or visit. Many astronauts have already signed up to be the first people to visit Mars. If they go, they have been told that they will probably not come back to Earth again. Wow, that's serious, isn't it? Imagine you're setting off on this incredible journey, but you'd probably be saying goodbye to everyone for the last time, as you'd not be able to see them in person. Mars is a much smaller planet than Earth, and it looks different too. Here on Earth, 70% of the world is made up of water, which is why Earth looks so blue in pictures. However, Mars is dry and dusty with only 14% water, making it look red. So there's a lot more water on the Earth than on Mars, but there is some water there. Just like Earth, Mars travels around the Sun. However, it takes Mars much longer, making a year on Mars last 687 days. Mars is also further away from the Sun, making it a colder planet. Here on Earth, the average temperature is 14 degrees Celsius, which we could all feel quite comfortable in, but on Mars, it is negative 46 degrees Celsius, minus 46 degrees. That's as cold as the North Pole in winter. I've never been in anything near minus 46 degrees. Humans need oxygen to breathe, but there isn't enough of it on Mars. This means that astronauts would need to take tanks of oxygen with them, and they could only live in inflatable bubbles until scientists find a way to solve this problem. Experts also think we might be able to grow plants on Mars. This would help the first settlers to grow food to eat. These pictures are what NASA thinks life on Mars might look like for the first settlers. Looks very futuristic. Okay, here are your questions. They are true or false. It would be great to do this with your someone at home. So, true or false? Humans have already been to Mars. That is, of course, false. A year on Mars is longer than a year on Earth. True. Humans can breathe on Mars. False. We could grow our own food on Mars. Scientists think that is true. They think that is possible. There is more water on Earth than on Mars. What colour does our planet look like? Mainly blue. I think that's true. Mars is bigger than Earth. False. Quite a lot smaller. The first settler on Mars will come back in a few months. False. They probably wouldn't come back. First settlers will probably live in inflatable homes on Mars. They think that is true. So, how many did you get out of 8? Should we or shouldn't we go? Vote with your thumbs for this one. You're going to see some different opinions about going to live on Mars. If you agree, put your thumbs up. If you disagree, put your thumbs down. Have your thumbs ready, hovering in the middle. We already have one planet. We should focus on looking after it instead of getting a new one. Do you agree or disagree? It is incredible that scientists will be able to go to Mars. It shows how much we have learned since the Stone Age. Do you agree or disagree? Being able to help make decisions on what Mars will look like and to build on a new planet would be very cool. Yay or nay? Going to Mars means never seeing your family or friends again. I wouldn't be able to do that. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Even if we did get to Mars, living there would be very difficult. There isn't enough oxygen and the weather can be very stormy. I was going to say stormsy then. Chance to vote now, children. We're nearly at the end of this session. So, could you be a first settler on Mars? On the yes side, being one of the first humans to stand on Mars and to build a community would be amazing. Climate change could mean that humans can't live on Earth anymore, so we should start to look at new places. If something happened to Earth, humankind could disappear forever. By putting people on both planets, we'll be helping humans to keep living forever. On the no side, going to Mars means never coming back. I couldn't leave my family and friends behind. We should be concentrating on trying to improve the environment on Earth, not making it worse by sending spaceships up or running away to a new planet. An interesting point there. Maybe we could do both, look after this planet and explore new worlds. At the moment, humans won't survive on Mars without oxygen or water supplies. Unless this changes, I won't be going. Right, children, a little extension. You can't build a community on Mars without other people. So your next job after designing your perfect work is finding people to go with you. So can you create an advertisement that convinces people to join you on your one-way journey to Mars? What might you need to say to someone who wants to be the first settler there? A few ideas at the bottom there. It would be great to see some of those photographed and sent to your year group email, or you could do it on a PowerPoint presentation or something. I've seen some of those recently, so please do send that in. I'd love to see them. A couple of videos there I'm not going to show you now, but hearing from the real astronauts, see what it's like. That's Tim Peake. I think he was the first British astronaut to go into space, so very interesting person to listen to there. And finally, I'll put this link in the video notes, but you can vote from home. It's not for us to do it. We can't at the moment. I hope you've enjoyed this week's Votes for Schools. I'm going to sign out now, and I'm going to go and apply for my chance to go and live on Mars. Bye.